Welcome to Setup Wars, episode 244, laptop edition. That's right, guys, we're gonna be looking at some dope laptop setups, hopefully giving you some inspiration on your own laptop setup if you have one. If you guys want to be a part of the show, make sure to watch the video link down below to learn how to enter. But with that said, sit back and relax, because you know what time it is. This video is sponsored by Opera GX, the ultimate gaming browser. I'm not even kidding when I say this, but when they reached out and sponsored me last time, I've been using their browser ever since. I just love the aesthetics. You can customize the appearance of the browser to anything you want. Special themes, wallpapers, and even colors. With GX Control, you can enhance the performance of your PC while gaming and having your browser opened. With the network limiter, you can limit how much bandwidth Opera GX can use, that way it doesn't impact you while gaming or streaming. You can also put a limit on how much RAM and CPU Opera GX can use. That way it doesn't eat up any additional resources while you're using your system for more important tasks like clapping kids on Fortnite. The app integration is also really cool. You can have all of your social media accounts linked on here along with Discord and Twitch, and you will get notifications when a streamer you follow goes live. One of the features I use a lot is the GX player. You can have all of your favorite music streaming services in one place. So if you guys want to be cool like me and everyone else who uses Opera GX, then make sure to click the link down below and download and install the browser for free. You guys are going to love it. Starting off the episode is Abraham from Texas and his gaming setup that took him 4 years to save up and build. He uses the setup for gaming, schoolwork, and making YouTube videos. So for this type of setup, Abraham has his laptop off to the side, but the lid is open, so I'm gonna assume he uses it as a secondary display as well. But he games and pretty much does everything on his external 25-inch 75Hz monitor from HP. He's using the AMPRO 2 keyboard with the Model O gaming mouse and a few fake plants for a bit of decoration. I think the layout of this laptop setup is pretty comfortable and cozy. The boom arm holding his microphone is in a good spot, and he even added a wireless charger on the left. But I feel like you can find a better place for that laptop. If you're not using it as a secondary monitor, it will look cleaner tucked away somewhere else, or even better, in a laptop stand. There are a bunch of cheap options on Amazon to choose from, which I'll link down below. Those LEDs will also look a lot better after properly diffusing them. If you want to see how it's done properly, check out my video link down below. You can also work on cable management a little bit more. The problem here is that you're using a lot of cable clips to do the heavy lifting, when a single cable rack could have just done the job. But other than that, it's a pretty simple laptop setup. Thanks for starting off the show. Here's a pretty cool laptop setup from Balan, coming all the way from Romania. He built 2 separate workstations, one for him and one for his fiance. And well, I'm sure we can all guess which one that is. I love that he separated both setups with a drawer in the middle, which also adds extra storage. So Balan uses the setup for pretty much everything besides gaming, either work, browsing, or watching anime. It looks like he integrated his Asus TUF gaming laptop in his setup by putting it on a desk mount just like the other 2 monitors, so that they are all eye level, and also to make room for his speakers on the bottom. I could definitely see good synergy with the setup. Everything is comfortably within reach, and the laptop can easily be detached if he's on the move. The only concern I have is with the teeny weeny mouse pad, but since you don't game, I guess it doesn't really make a huge difference. Thanks for entering. Here's a more simple and clean approach to a laptop setup from Finn. He's got a really nice brick wallpaper on the wall to give the setup a bit of personality, and he mounted both his MacBook and monitor to the same mount. This allows him to still use the laptop whenever he wants, and since it's not secured on the mount itself, he can easily disconnect the laptop and take it with him. Finn uses the setup for music production, photo editing, and some schoolwork. Looks like he stuck to the minimal and clean look by going with wireless peripherals, and the only other thing on the desk is the Eufy Genie speakers and his old mouse box that's holding a few miscellaneous items. Now, if you really want to help clean the surface a bit more, you can always pick up a small pencil drawer to store that stuff away if you're not using it, by the way. But overall, a really simple and clean laptop setup. Thanks, Finn, for sharing it with us. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have Gavin's setup, a gaming and streaming setup that took him nearly 3 years to save up and build. The desk itself is actually made up of 2 Lidman tabletops that are combined together with the Eckert cabinets and a few legs for support. We got a 24-inch 144Hz monitor as the primary and a 24-inch 60Hz in vertical mode as a secondary. Gavin made really good use of space on his desk by adding a monitor riser for both his main monitor and even a laptop, which gave him some extra storage space underneath. It doesn't look like he uses the laptop at all once it's powered on, since it's a bit far from him, but that's okay because he does have 2 additional displays and a keyboard and mouse. At first I thought those keycaps had some pretty cool designs on them, but nope, they are all anime girls. Every single one of them. It was at that moment I realized Gavin had a lot more anime women scattered across his setup. From the wallpapers, to the stickers on his laptop, on his VR console, underneath the setup, oh wait, no, it's actually just a dog, and even some posters on his acoustic panels. Jesus Christ, Gavin, calm down, I get it. The setup definitely has a lot of personality, that's for sure, but it's also got functionality, perfectly placed monitors, great boom arm location, and you can't really see this, but he does own a pair of Razer normal speakers sandwiching the riser. I don't think that wall of random empty Monster cans and the entire wall of black acoustic panels really do much for your setup aesthetically. I just feel like those acoustic panels really take away from the presentation of your awesome setup, especially at night where there isn't that much light. But if it floats your boat, then by all means, go for it. Thank you for sharing this setup with us. Now here is a setup that made good use of the acoustic panels. It's nothing too distracting, but at the same time, he did add a little bit on there for both decoration and soundproofing. This is Jepi's setup from Italy, and he uses this for gaming, streaming, and watching videos. He went with this floating look by mounting both his monitor and laptop to the desk. Probably a good idea too, since he's using a Linman tabletop. These things bend easier than I do on a Saturday night, so having the mounting point further away from the center was a good choice. For peripherals, he's using the Drevo Blademaster keyboard that he painted in white to match the setup's color scheme, and he even skinned his G502 Hero mouse as well. I love the dedication here. For audio, he's using the LG Hi-Fi speakers that he mounted beautifully on the top, with a white raceway hiding the cables going down the wall and into the back of the custom backboard he made for the rest of the cable management. Well done. Aside from the speakers, he also owns a pair of Arctis 3 headphones that he keeps behind his tablet and a Behringer microphone hooked up to a boom arm. I really like how he kept everything so organized, and because he doesn't have any storage cabinets or drawers underneath the desk, he hung up a few pin boards against the wall. Now normally this would look very messy in other setups, but it actually blends in nicely with the theme of Jepi's setup. Seeing as this was your original setup, I'm actually really impressed with all the upgrades you did over the 2 years. Well done on this amazing transformation, and thanks for entering. Here's our first double-stacked compact laptop setup from Jon, who is a swimming pool designer from Sacramento. He built the setup for 3D animation, research, and gaming. This picture of you gaming with your daughter is the most wholesome thing I've seen on setup wars, by the way. So we've got a 24-inch on the bottom and a 32-inch up top that's mounted against the wall, covered with those 3D art panels. And I gotta give you some credit, Jon, because a lot of people probably would have skipped covering the corners, but you put in the extra effort. Nicely done. So at this point, you guys are probably wondering, where is the laptop? Well, since he has 2 monitors, he doesn't really need to use a laptop other than to power it on. So he stores it underneath the desk when not in use, but he does have a laptop stand in some cases where he wants to keep the laptop on the desk. Despite the size of the Linman, he managed to fit everything on there nicely without looking cramped, and even put in some extra effort in personalizing it. Job well done, Jon, and thanks for entering. Here was our very first laptop music production setup. This is Lars, who is a self-employed music producer from Germany, and this is the setup he built for, well, I'm sure you can guess at this point. Music production along with some light video editing, graphic, and web designing. He's rocking a single 24-inch AUC monitor as the primary, but he does use his Razer laptop for color grading and light gaming. So my first impressions of the setup were, oh look, that's a pretty cool, refreshing setup. We actually have some live plants in his room with a nice view in the backyard, but it kind of just ends there, to be honest. There is no continuity, no consistency. It just felt like you tossed a few things together that you had lying around in your home to create something for the show. And I'm not just saying this to bring you down, but I feel like there definitely could have been more effort put in this, especially if you're a music producer. You put in the notes that this took you 5 years to build, and by looking at your setup 3 years ago, you definitely made some nice upgrades, but I feel like you could incorporate those plants a lot better instead of just placing them on the side of your table. You could even pick up a few fake ones from Amazon to add a bit of consistency if that's the theme you're going for. You can get a bunch of different fake plants on Amazon for dirt cheap. I'll leave a link below if you guys want to check that out. The laptop stand is a nice addition, but there's no way you can do color grading from that distance. So where do you put your laptop when you're actually using it? I feel like a desk mount would add more functionality. Adding an IKEA lag shelf with a few capital legs will also look really nice in your setup. Not only will it raise the monitor a bit more to your eye level, but it will also be long enough to store your MIDI keyboard when you're not using it. Cable management could also be improved. You kind of just shoved most of the cables behind your desk, but you left the rest of the wires alone. Where are the Velcro straps, the cable clips, raceways? These are just a few examples of how you can improve the functionality and aesthetics of your setup. I know that you put all the money you earn into advertising for your company, but maybe you should save some and put it towards your setup, because after all, your setup is the main source of your income, right? This is kind of like a psychological thing, and I've experienced this over the past 8 years of doing YouTube. It's if you're really happy with your setup, and you're always excited to wake up and sit in front of it to game or to work or to even watch porn, whatever it is, it's gonna affect your mood, right? And in return, I feel like that's gonna affect your performance. So that's why I'm kind of harsh sometimes on setups like this, where I see wasted opportunities. So Lars, if you're watching, I hope you can take away some tips from this video and that you can come back on the show with an improved setup. Thanks for entering. Last but not least, we have Mario with our very first laptop hybrid setup. He's a master's student and content creator from Germany that built this setup for work, gaming, and media consumption. On the left side is his Dell XPS 15 that's hooked up to a 24-inch 60Hz monitor, and the second main monitor is hooked up to his custom gaming PC in the Thermaltake Core V1, featuring the 7700 and the GTX 1070 Mini. So basically, one side is work and the other side is gaming. Mario does sports photography and company video projects for a living, so he's often taking the laptop with him for on-the-go video shootings. Otherwise, it's connected to his docking station. I've seen a lot of people put their speakers in awkward locations when they have dual monitor setups like this. You know, one option is to raise the monitors on a desk mount, just like what Mario did, so you can have space underneath for them. Aside from the speakers, he does have two headsets as well, the HyperX Cloud 2s for gaming and the QC2s for media. Cables are also managed very well, no complaints at all. This is definitely more of a complete setup, and it shows that Mario put in some planning into it. Well done, and thank you for entering. As a reminder, you guys can always pick up a cheap Windows CD key for less than $15. Just click on my link below and use the code TS20 for an extra 20% off. Once you get your CD key, just visit the activation settings in Windows and change your product key. It's that simple. So that is all the laptop setups I have. If you guys have a laptop setup of your own that you want to share with the world, make sure to watch the video linked down below. But let me know which of these laptop setups was your absolute favorite in the comment section down below. Consider dropping a like before you head out, as it does help out the channel a ton. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.